Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills Housing Update. So our first full week of November is in and the numbers are very strong and they are kind of trending on where we've been the last few months of sales being really good and inventory being down. So let's take a look at the numbers. In Georgetown this week, we had 21 properties sell, which is a pretty high number compared to what we were seeing in October. 10 of those sold over asking, so still tons of bidding wars happening. But a more interesting piece is that 13 of the 21 sales were over the $1 million mark. So I've been saying for the last few months that our $1 million+ price point is definitely what feels like our busiest price point right now. And this just reiterates that. It has been crazy there. We are seeing properties come up, but they are moving and we're seeing bidding wars, we're seeing over asking. It's just a very busy price point, and it's supporting the fact that the market is still really busy, because historically when our market starts to cool down, the $1 million+ price point is what starts to cool off a bit, and that is still moving and moving pretty rapidly. So I'm going to be keeping, again, a close eye on that price point. In terms of new listings this week, we had 19 new listings. So again, our sales were higher than our new listings. So we are going to be in a bit of an inventory crunch again this week. In Acton, we had 3 properties sell, which is a fine number for there. The good news is that there was 7 new listings. So last week, our inventory was at 8 active listings in Acton. So it was very, very low. So definitely refreshing to see some new properties coming on the market there. In Glen Williams, we had 1 property sell and no new listings. Limehouse had no movement whatsoever. Rural had no sales, which is the first week in a long time that Rural has seen no movement. So I'm going to be watching that, because typically when our in-town is moving well, Rural is moving well. And so to see no sales there last week is a bit concerning. And in terms of new inventory there, we only had 1 new listing, which is also kind of low for the rural market. So now let's look at active inventory. So our inventory actually held steady this week. It went up and down in different areas, but overall market in Halton Hills has 94 active listings. 5 are in the sold conditional status. So again, under 90 properties technically available, which is not great. And I anticipate with how we've been going that we are going to see inventory numbers drop, because the buyer demand is so high right now. And we are definitely getting into that time of year where we see less and less listings coming up. In Georgetown, we are back down into the 40s. We are at 49 active listings, which is not good. Now looking at the price points that we look at, under 700,000 has dipped again to only 8 active listings. Another problem price point has been 700,000 to 800,000. We are down significantly this week. Now we only have 2 active listings in that super high demand price point. So our 800 to $1 million price point is up slightly to 14 active listings. And no surprise, our $1 million+ price point is now down to 24 active listings. So again, we are seeing tons of movement in that price point, and inventory is slowly becoming a problem there. In Acton, inventory is up to 11 active listings, which is still a very low number for Acton, but in comparison, we're up versus last week. In Glen Williams, we're down slightly to 5 active listings. Limehouse remains the same at 5 active listings, which is high for Limehouse. In the rural market, we are up to 24 active listings, which is still quite a low number there. But again, we didn't see any sales this week, so it's going to be interesting to watch the rural market. And again, if town keeps up the way it is, we should see a pickup in the sales in the rural market. So overall, for the first week of November, this is showing another very strong month. I did anticipate that November will probably continue on the trend of being a record month, especially year over year. We still have so many buyers looking. It definitely has cooled off, but for a November, the numbers we're seeing and where our inventory is sitting versus how many bidding wars and sales we're having, I do think by the end of the month, we could be in like an even bigger inventory crisis. Because like I said, people stop listing their homes November, December so that they can kind of enjoy the holiday season. again, with it being 2020, like it's been not following all the regular trends and our markets have shifted. So I do think November is going to be super strong. It's still a really good month to be thinking about selling your house. But we'll be watching sort of what happens, especially that $1 million+ price point and the rural markets. I'm going to be watching those very closely. So come back next Tuesday and we will take a look if we see any kinds of a slowdown, but I am not holding my breath. Have a great week, everyone.